brethren, because it's time for Ringside. Got a bunch of news lined up for you, ladies and gentlemen, so without further ado, we're just gonna what? Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio that he was recently in Los Angeles to be interviewed for Netflix's Vince McMahon documentary series. He said it will cover, quote, everything, and that McMahon himself has been interviewed for it. Meltzer also said the show is, quote, gonna be out sooner than you think. Is this the same documentary that they said they were gonna do, and then they, stopped? Am I remembering that correctly? Because I 100% remember that Netflix or somebody else was going to do a documentary on him, and then they, stopped. I don't particularly remember what it was for. I think it was the whole, scandal thing happened, and I think that's what, slowed it down. So, I guess, they continued it up. I'm going to go ahead and assume that this is the exact same one. He's doing, he's in it, right? And it's about him. So, I can only imagine, what is going to be said and what he's going to say about it. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't really know when it's going to come out. Maybe I'll watch it when it comes out. I don't 100% know. I'm just going to be totally honest with you. Some of the stuff I pretty much know about already, to be totally honest, like the territories thing and all the, scandals and all that sort of stuff. I'm pretty much, aware of half of the stuff that he's already done, so it wouldn't really be, news to me, to be totally honest. I was thinking, though, that it would be really nice for, casual fans to see, though. People who watch WWE and maybe don't know a whole lot about Vince McMahon, or maybe people who don't watch WWE but are interested in the man behind it, you know what I mean? So I feel like, just as a whole, the documentary, I feel like, would definitely be very interesting just for, all walks of life, and I feel like it would definitely answer a lot of questions and, fill in a lot of holes for those who are still sort of confused, okay, to just the whole aura that this man sort of portrays on and off camera. So, all in all, not really much else to say. I don't really know when it's going to come out. Sooner than you think, so maybe next month. My money's on next month, and it'd be very interesting how everybody feels when it eventually airs. Next, a Fightful Select report cited scenes like the one on last Friday's SmackDown featuring Tyler Bate and Butch as an example of production changes at WWE. 3 years ago, Triple H empowered Jeremy Borash to produce those kinds of segments in NXT, quote, where it would be safely under Kevin Dunn's radar. With Dunn now gone, quote, there's a door open to feature that style of promos across all WWE shows. Several folks who worked on scenes like that and the one Raw segment where Chelsea Green and Piper Niven confronting Kaden Carter and Katana Chance at a club praised the new process and how they, quote, let the characters breathe rather than cutting to other things that Dunn preferred. It is definitely, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's definitely opening up a new perspective of how the wrestlers are going to look and feel, right, across all the shows. And some of them are great. I'll be honest with you. Some of them are fantastic. And some of them are terrible. And that's just how it goes. Not every single one is going to knock it out of the park. Although I will say this. Taking the wrestlers out of the backstage area and putting them in different scenarios and, getting them to showcase their acting chops, and building to more things and really diversifying the storylines and the feuds and the rivalries and what have you, right? Being able to not just do everything backstage and being able to go to very specific locations to have more interconnected things take place. It will definitely enhance, just everything as a whole. And it will definitely be a huge difference going forward. I feel like it'll make a gigantic difference, as opposed to everyone kind of just standing around and, being at a 3/4 angle, and, just talking back and forth to one another. I think having the vignette, not the vignette, we're going to say the scene where Tiffany and Fallon were at the farm, stuff like that, where, you weren't limited to just one specific location and, you can have more things take place. You know what I mean? You can have, more wrestlers sort of, mention more things and, what's the word? They can show you more stuff, pretty much. They can, take you on a journey and go to different locations and show you more things that are happening in their lives and stuff like that. So, I think with all that going on, right, floating around with WWE, again, it'll definitely enhance a lot of stuff, and I can't wait to see what else Jeremy Borash comes up with. Sticking with WWE, Charlotte Flair pushed for WWE to sign Andrade per Fightful Select. In the same report, the site notes that prior to his departure, Andrade pushed for Tony Khan to bring Ric Flair in at AEW. So, she did it before. This is not the first time that she's done it. Can she do it again? That was my first thought. Just because she's injured doesn't mean that she can't pick up the phone, jaw jack with a couple people back and forth and see if she can pull some strings, because Andrade, I don't remember if Andrade, no, that's not true. Andrade did leave. he did say that. It was a tweet. He said he was out of here, and, you know, so far I haven't really heard anything. If I remember correctly, he did tweet it out, right? He's out of here, and, you know, there's no guarantee that WWE is going to be his next stop, but I wouldn't rule it out entirely, and also, you know, I wouldn't put it past Charlotte Flair to, again, kind of, you know, pick up the phone and be like, hey, you know, I want him back, and he's a great, you know, wrestler and all that sort of stuff, and I think that he should come back with WWE. So, again, I don't necessarily know where he's going to go. I can't 100% guarantee that, you know, he's not going to show up to MLW or go back to, like, CMLL, AAA or something like that. But, you know, just the whole, he's been with WWE before, and it would make a lot of sense for WWE to sort of, like, have him in the pipeline, especially with Royal Rumble coming up, right? And, you know, again, Charlotte Flair and him are an item, so it would make more sense for Charlotte Flair to be like, you know what, I want to be with my husband, and I don't want him to be, you know, in areas that I can't talk to him, even though technically, you know, it's them being together wouldn't necessarily stop them, you know, from talking to one another just because they're in completely different companies. So, you know, not much else to say, simply because we have to wait and see what ends up happening. But he could show back up at the Rumble, and who knows, maybe Charlotte Flair is already in talks with WWE trying to get Andrade to re-sign. So we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening. Moving over to AEW, on a private social media account that House of Wrestling was asked not to share, Keith Lee wrote, quote, took roughly 19 years, but I guess it's my turn. Time to get fixed. Here's to double surgeries. Certainly one way to start 2024. Now, if you've been watching my episodes, at least this past week, you'll know that the mention of surgeries is not something that I am 100% against. But I will say this, surgeries do stink simply because, you know, it takes you away from the product, and then you have to do the thing where you get into shape, then you got to get into wrestling shape. No, yeah. The point is, okay, you miss a lot of time, right? And you're kind of out of the public eye for a while because of the whole surgery situation. And Keith Lee's got to get 2 of them, you know, which it's really not that bad because the point of the surgery is so that she can recover and then she can get better. The only downside is that you're away from the product. That's pretty much it. Other than that, there's really no negative aspects to it, you know, and obviously, you know, you don't want him to be away, but it is something that needs to happen so that he can recover, so that his body isn't suffering, so that whatever's going on with him doesn't get any worse. And obviously, you want him to make a speedy recovery and be back sooner rather than later. That's the whole point of it. So if this is what needs to happen, right, in order for him to recover properly and for him to get older and not have any type of, like, lasting pain or anything like that, then I have no issue with it. So again, we hope that he makes a speedy recovery and he's back sooner rather than later. Sticking with AEW, Camille was backstage at Dynamite last night, according to Fightful Select. The former NWA Women's Champ has supposedly received an offer from WWE, but Fightful sources couldn't confirm if she's signed anything yet. Camille is believed to be visiting friends at AEW. In fairness, she could be doing the thing that CM Punk was doing before he re-signed with WWE as well. Well, no, where he re-signed with WWE, where she's kind of just like going around and, you know, weighing her options. You know what I mean? It could also be that. Or it could mainly just be that she was there seeing friends, not really up to a whole lot, really just sort of hanging out, you know, not really doing too much, not really thinking about anything. It seemed, I mean, I don't know. I don't 100% know. Again, I never want to, like, you know, set anything in stone when it comes to these sort of things. So, for all I know, she could be going with AEW, she could be going with WWE. I have literally no idea. So I'm just going to chalk this up to her visiting friends. And let's assume that she is 100%, you know, going with WWE. You know, again, I could be wrong, but I'm going to lean on the whole WWE thing. I think that that's somewhere she might be going more often than not. And again, like I said, it's a perfect fit for her. And we'll just have to wait and see if that ends up being the case. Finally, WWE's recently filed trademarks for, quote, Jasmine Nix, Lainey Reed, and Carly Bright. There's really not much to talk about here. There's only 2 options that this could be. The first one is maybe it's the names of some of the girls that Jacy Jayne has been talking to backstage during the whole, like, I guess, I don't even know, like, Secret Chase U storyline that's currently going on right now. That's what I thought of, you know, because she's, like, talking to a bunch of different girls and, like, telling them to do a bunch of different stuff, and I think, like, one of them, like, took pictures or something, I have no idea, and then she, like, asked one of them on a date, but then if I remember correctly, she was calling them, like, she was saying their names. So, like, it probably can't be them, or maybe it's not them specifically, but maybe it has to do with some of the other, like, background women. I don't 100% know. And then the second one was just, you know, maybe it's like some rookies, you know, training to wrestle, and maybe they're gonna show up on TV at some point. Maybe be in like a, I don't know, Battle Royal backstage segment or something like that, you know, and that's gonna be their name. I mean, it's full names, so if they are gonna be in a backstage segment, then there's a chance that we could see them in the ring at some point. The women's breakout tournament already happened though, so, you know, I don't know how these names would be integrated into the roster. It could not be on NXT. That was just my first thought, because that's, you know, that's where they go to start out. So maybe a faction's going to start, because there's 3 of them, right? So, but I don't know if they are going to start a faction. I'm saying, like, maybe they're going to be in a faction. I don't 100% know. There's not really much to go off of here, so we're just going to have to wait and see when it's up happening. What we're talking about, Dave Meltzer said that he was in Los Angeles for the McMahon docuseries. If this is the same one that they were planning on doing some time ago, good to know that it has continued, and I'm curious to see how it's going to look. I would like WWE to continue on with these backstage scene segment type dealies. These are really good. And again, like I said, I would like it to showcase more of just the whole diversification, right, of the locations and the, like, I don't know how to explain it, but, like, it's definitely going to show a lot more of WWE, if that makes any sense. It's not just going to be, I stand here, you stand there, we talk back and forth. If there's going to be a lot more dynamic, you know, intricacies into the scenes and the rivalries and the feuds, that I feel like more locations and more, like, production, you know, styles will definitely help, you know, showcase with the wrestlers going forward. It's very difficult for me to explain, but I just know that I'm looking forward to it, all right? All right. Flair pushed for Andrade to sign WWE originally. Now, with that being said, there's a good chance that she is possibly in the process right now of having him re-sign. I don't 100% know how confirmed that could potentially be at the time of this recording, but I will say this. She did it before, okay? And I'm not going to rule out that she could possibly do it again. That is, if Andrade wants to go back with WWE, and I feel like if he does want to go back to WWE, it might have something to do with the fact that Charlotte Flair is also there as well, okay? So, he may not go back to WWE, but there's a lot of factors as to why he would go back to WWE, is all I'm trying to say. Keith Lee is getting double surgery. Now, again, you don't want to hear this because it means that he's going to be away from the product for very long. But me personally, I have no problem with this, because he's getting surgery, right? He's going to be better, and this is going to help him in the long run, okay? I'm looking at it in the future. This is going to help him in the long run, and these double surgeries will hopefully these double surgeries will mean that he will not have to get more surgery in the future because of the surgery that he's getting right now, okay? Mason Madden, formerly Mace in WWE, told WrestlingNews.co's Steve Fall that Retribution was originally, quote, meant to be Antifa, but Fox nixed that idea. Thank God. Thank the Lord, okay? Retribution was terrible originally, and I can only imagine what horrible storylines and segments would have befalled that terrible faction if Antifa was supposed to be, I guess, the inspiration. Lord help me, okay? Camille's backstage Dynamite. I don't really think that there's a whole lot to really go off of here. I think she was just hanging out, not really much else to say. I feel as though that she's on her way to WWE. I could be wrong, but I'm going to lean on the WWE thing. I feel like that's something that's going to happen. And WWE recently filed trademarks for Jasmine Nix, Lainey Reed, and Carly Bright. Again, don't 100% know what that's for. I assumed it may be some of the wrestlers or some of the women that JC Jane was talking to backstage with the whole Chasey storyline. I could be wrong. It could be a faction. I don't 100% know. We're going to have to wait and see what actually ends up happening with that. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow. And as always, big hugs. Big hugs all around.